to set the stage what we mean by cultural proficiency. And then, of course, we'll spend the most time with the panel discussion. And after that, we'll open the floor up for questions from the audience. And then at the end, hope that we'll have a couple minutes for the summary key takeaways. And we'll do a raffle at the end to close, okay? So let me get started. Oh, if you have any questions for our panelists during the discussion, feel free to type it into the chat and we'll try to answer your questions at the end. So for those of you who are not familiar with CTN, Community Tech Network, we are a 16-year-old nonprofit. Our mission is to transform lives through digital equity. And we do that by providing, one, direct services to the clients, and two, helping other nonprofit organizations to build capacity for their own digital equity programs. And we work entirely in partnership with other nonprofits and government agencies. My name is Sabrina Tam, and I'm honored to be the host and moderator for today's panel. I have worked with CTN for 7 years, and I started first as a part-time instructor, and I'm now a senior program manager. First, I would like to introduce you to our panelists. The first one is Hira Embry. So Hira, I would like you to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about you, and tell us what is the phrase that you use the most when you teach digital literacy. So say it in your language and also explain it to the audience in English.
Sure. Thank you, Sabrina, for inviting me to this panel. I'm really looking forward for this discussion. My name is Hira Amreen, and I am Pakistani Asian and coming from a South Asian background. I had worked in public administration and I have been a part of CTN for more than a year, almost 1.5 years. I work with a very diverse group where I work with core Asians, then I work with the Asians that have limited language barrier and some who don't know English and some who just know English and a little bit of their own language, depending on how diverse United States is. And the favorite phrase that I say all the time to my instructor, my students, my learners are, "Aap वापस से home button दबा दीजिए." There is nothing to worry about. And usually I say it in the language that, you come back to the home page or, you click on the home button, but there is nothing to stress on or, don't worry. So this is how, we initiated because sometimes they just feel very nervous on going and exploring a different website. So we always put it back to the home page. So that's about it. I would like to move forward to other panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Hira. Next one up, Daphne Chang.
Hello, everyone. So my name is Daphne. So I am a digital equity program coordinator and also as a bilingual instructor in CTN. So I mainly provide virtual training in both group and also one-on-one sections. So I speak Cantonese, Mandarin, and English. I am an immigrant and I'm originally from Hong Kong. So I hope my cultural background can help promote digital equity to artists. So the phrases I always speak in my training to my learners are, in Cantonese, we say, 唔緊要，我哋再試過. In Mandarin, we say, 沒關係，我們再來. That means it's okay, let's try again together. So I always believe encouragement sparks engagement. So if we want the learners be more engaged to training, so we have to we give them lots of encouragement so that they feel more confident. So this is it. So I will pass to the next panelist. Thank you.
Thank you, Daphne. Marcela.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Marcela Ramis, and I have been part of CTN for, I believe, 4 or 5 months. I'm really very thankful for the opportunity, not only to be part of CTN, but also to be part of this panel. My background is, I'm from Mexico, and my background is Spanish, of course, and I love to have Hispanic students because not only I understand the culture, but I understand how they feel. And one of the things I use is to say, I understand your question, and I want you to know that no matter what you have to ask, you can ask it. Because sometimes they have this thing where they think that they are not good enough. They say, oh no, I'm not good enough for this. I shouldn't be, nobody wants to help me. So I try to encourage them and to make them feel safe, because it's too much for them to learn. And they will feel that encouragement like a good thing for them to continue, because they want to give. So that's what I most do. I tell them, you can do it. I know, I believe in you, and we are gonna do it. Let's keep going on. And that's it.
Thank you, Marcella. Next, we'll have Hee-Won Park.
Hi everyone. 안녕하세요. My name is Hee-Won Park. 저는 박혜원입니다. I am Korean English bilingual disability instructor at CTN. I joined CTN in 2022, so it's over 2 years already. And the phrase I use the most when I teach my learners, I always say, it's okay, I'm here to help you. Because many of the learners always fear to do something new. So I encourage them saying like, I'm here to help you. That's the reason why I am here. So yeah. So I'm so happy to having this panelist. Thank you.
Thank you, Hee-Won. And we also have Paul Tomani.
Hi, my name is Pon Tumuli. I am a refugee from a Khmer refugee from Laos. Been here for a long time, 40 years or so, and I speak Khmer, Laotian, Thai, and of course English. So the phrase that I use very often during training is it's okay, let's try again. And in Khmer, you would say, okay, right? And in Laos, you could say, long ikaning, right? So it happens a lot just because, as you guys all know, like, the elderly, when they touch something, sometimes it's not, they hold it too long, they do it too fast, or they touch a different spot. So we're assuming we just try it again, and it'll be okay.
Last but not least, well, thank you, Paul. And last but not least, we have Jen Tran.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen. My Vietnamese name is Giang. I'm a bilingual digital instructor at CTN. I'm fluent in Vietnamese and English. I've joined CTN for nearly a year, and my background is in English teaching. Before I moved here as an immigrant last year, and I was English teacher in Vietnam. So joining CTN is a great way for me to continue my teaching passion. And so what I often say to my learner is, dạ không sao ạ, cô chú cứ học từ từ và hỏi lại con nếu cô chú không hiểu. So it means that it's okay. Please take your time and ask me any question if you don't get it. I have to say this often because a lot of time my learners apologize for not remembering what I teach them or not knowing something because they feel ashamed. And in my culture, people are not encouraged to ask questions. They should know, like they think that they should know everything. So I want to make sure that they feel that they can trust me and see me as their, grandchild or a child, so that they're comfortable to ask any question and just repeat what we learn.
That's excellent. Thank you, Jen, and all of the panelists for demonstrating your language skill and also what you face often in the classroom or working with your learners. So next slide. What is cultural proficiency? So before we go into the panel discussion, I just want to set the stage. Cultural proficiency is the ability to interact effectively with people from different cultural backgrounds. It involves understanding, respecting, and valuing diverse cultural perspectives and practices. And I'd like to emphasize that language is just one aspect of culture. There are also age groups, education background, digital skills experience, work experience, social classes, religions, and many, many other aspects. So organizations that are culturally proficient do not only understand and respect cultural differences, but they also actively work to promote diversity and inclusion in their work. They're advocates for cultural competence in the communities. And that's why CTN organized today's section for our audience. Now let's jump into our first panel questions. What role does cultural proficiency training play in promoting digital equity? Why is it important for our work? Any panelists want to answer this question?
Sabrina, I would like to answer these questions.
Please go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, so for me, cultural proficiency training definitely plays a very important part in promoting the digital equity. So in Chinese, we have a saying that 真生北给, which means we put yourself in someone else's shoes. So as a bilingual digital instructor, so understanding and respecting the cultural differences from our learners really help us a lot to tailor the training contents that fits their needs. So let me give you some example. So many of my Chinese learners, they don't use email at all. So, but instead, they really like to use another app called WeChat as their primary communication tools. So when we provide the digital training for them, so we tailor-make our curriculum to focus more on teaching the WeChat skills to them instead of using the emails. So for example, we show them how to use other features like making the video phone calls, like translating the text messages, sending the photos to their families and friends. So by doing that, you can totally tell that the training make it more relevant, meaningful, and more engaging for them. So this is not only helping them to build like more confidence in the digital world, but also help them to connect with their loved ones. It's truly a win-win situation. So I believe so. Cultural proficiency training isn't just an extra step to promote the digital equity, also showing our respect to our learners by understanding their backgrounds so the learners feel more understood, more valued, and they will become even more confident and more motivated to learn some new skills, which is very important for them. So this is my sharing. Thanks.
Thank you, Daphne. Any other panelists want to answer this question?
Yeah, I could add on to that. But based on what she said about understanding how the learners use the technology is very important, and what they're used to, because in my I guess the group of people that I'm teaching, they're all refugees from Laos. So unlike immigrants, refugees are not. Most of them are not here by choice. They come here because their home was destroyed. So a lot of them are subsistence farmers. So they never went to school in their language. And I know we have translation. We translate from the English to Laos or to other language, but the main thing here to understand with that demographic is that they can't read in any language. So there's a lot of description and a lot of hand holding that's involved to get them to do what we ask. And also for them, they need a purpose for using technology. So it's not just like, oh, use a computer because you could do a lot of things. You have to give them a purpose. Like what are you using for? It's like having a tool and not knowing what to do with it. So most of them they find it valuable in terms of trying to connect with friends or families that they haven't seen in a long time, or friends or family abroad. And yeah, and I think understanding what the need is for their demographics is very important.
Great. Any other panelists want to add?
Me, Marcela, can I add one? It will be very fast. One of the ones I identify is to take those barriers out. So many, like my Spanish speaking learners, sometimes they are just concentrated in their own culture. And if we open them this digital world and they can see, it's not like he says, not only the computer to know, to download applications, but also to show them there's another world. There's other people. The biases can be taken away. That we can be a more diverse and more accepting world if we show them that there's more out there and take those barriers out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Thank you. Great sharing. So I'll move on to the next question. And I'm sure our panelists will have a lot to say about this one. What are some common challenges your learners face in digital literacy, and how do you help them address these challenges? Notice that we listed 4 groups of learners that CTN work with very often, but we cover more than what's listed here. So please feel free if you want to share your experience with working with other cultural groups that's not listed here, okay? So I will, oh, sorry, go back. Who wants to go first? Don't be shy.
I'll go first.
Jen,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah, so like older adults, I noticed that they often feel shamed or scared to ask others to repeat their instructions, and they also unaware of a lot of scams out there, or they often have a lot of memory, like limited memory, that interfere with their ability to remember what they learn, or health issues that often happen often, that they have to reschedule the classes with me. And I think something else that they lack understanding and feel left behind by the internet culture. So like, because of the internet, how we communicate changed. We, instead of calling each other, which is how our, elderly used to do, they call each other and talk. But in today's world, we text a lot more than calling each other. And sometimes seniors have problem understanding like why younger people, their family don't talk to them directly, or their grandchildren don't try to communicate them directly. So they can think of that as like disrespect. Also, that's a lot of things that goes online. It's restrict them from like doing a lot of basic things like paying bills, or scheduling their doctor appointments, or getting access to government services.
So how do you help them address these challenges?
So like, for if they feel shame, like I just want to encourage them, like it's okay. Like I let them know that other learners that I work with also have these challenges, and these are people I work with them often, and it's okay. Like they don't have to feel it's not they don't have to feel ashamed. I also explain to them like how the internet has changed the way we communicate. Like today's people's multitask a lot. They might try to do a lot of things at once. So if they don't call you directly, but instead if they text you, it's just because they are working on something else. It doesn't mean disrespect. Or if they have, memory issues or health issues that interfere with the learning, it's okay. Like I let my learners reschedule with me like 5 or 7 times. As long as they are still, want to learn, I'm willing to do that. And let them continue with the training. And for the memory, I would, I encourage them to have a notebook, and also like show them how to use password managers and different ways to help them transfer the memory into technology instead of trying to remember everything by themselves.
Yeah, thank you.
Sabrina,
Jen, yes,
can I add one?
sure.
Yeah, okay. So one thing that I discovered with all the ones that I had like 10 or 12 during September. And one thing I discovered is many of them feel they are not good enough, right? So I thought that in order to break that barrier, first we'll ask them, before we started the classes, tell me a little bit about yourself. And they will tell me all their story, and I will listen to them, because I thought that to break that would make easier for them, and also to build trust and build a safe place, because that's what they have sometimes. They have this thing in their mind that they are not good enough, that they feel shame because they don't know, they don't read, or their immigrant status, or their families, how they live, or their mental, their whatever disability they have. So if they trust this person that is coming through the screen, and they can talk to them, and they can feel comfortable to make mistakes, to not be able to read or anything, then it changes. And then I know all these stories of all these different people, and they feel good about themselves, because they are not only learning, but they are accepting that it's okay to learn at that, even late in life.
Yes, definitely. I also share the same, like they want to learn, but oftentimes they just not confident. So how do we help them build the confidence? So that's very good point, Marcella. I want to see if Heywan has anything to add. Heywan?
Yes, I just do want to add some comments from Jen and Marcella. As they mentioned, all the adult people have a lot of concerns, worried to learn and use digital devices. But sometimes I meet some learners who they say they don't know what they can do with the devices. So sometimes they feel like they wanted to learn, they wanted to use the device, but they don't know how to use it, and they don't know what they can do with the devices. So they kind of things that make them to feel too much worried and concerned. For example, they feel too much worried about identity theft issues. So they don't want to even create the Apple ID because of the identity theft issues. And they don't want to learn about AI because they feel like it's too much. So for them, I try to let them expose it at this world, what they can do, and what is a safe place, a safe space. So, and another challenges my learners face in digital literacy is they do not have enough social support, especially the Korean learners. Many of them are first generation of immigrant. So their primary language is Korean, but their adult child, their primary language is English. So even within the family members, they have some language barriers as well. So when they have some critical issues to bring their technical problems, it's hard to get support from their kids. And within the Korean cultures, it's very hard to bring up the older people questions and concerns to the younger people, family members. So to increase it and help them address these kind of challenges, I do like the regular check-in. Do you have any questions or concerns while you are using your devices during this week? Or I ask them to, if you have any questions or concerns, problems, just to text me. And then they bring their text message. And also I encourage them to participate our CTNC Q&A sessions, even though we don't provide Korean language Q&A sessions, but I encourage them to Q&A sessions after finishing our training sessions. So that's the ways I help my learners addressing these challenges.
Thank you. Thank you, Hyewan. Pon, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, so yeah, in addition to like you know, the common issues with memory and you know, being shy to learning new technology, my learners, like I mentioned before, they're refugees from Laos, and a lot of them, like very high percentage of them, are not literate. And so my challenge is when I try to train them, try to guide them remotely or just by verbal communication. It's hard to for them to understand, because we make assumption that when you say press the go button, you'll know there's go because it's has go on it, right? But if they can't read, go doesn't mean anything to them. So I have to like describe it to them, or you know, when the physically in sight, we have to kind of guide them, just show them where everything is. So it's very challenging, but I mean, luckily I've been around them enough to figure ways to get around that and just kind of describe, you know, where it is on the screen and what it looks like and stuff like that. But it takes a lot of time to train them because of the literacy rate, and it's just, you know, it's yeah, it just takes a little bit longer. And what else was I gonna say? So to address this, we do a lot of in-person training and just more one-on-one versus a group session, because if you do a group session, you face the problem with like every single person needs the personal attention. And yeah, so it's something we're trying to balance out, but it's a big challenge for us with the time limitation we have.
Yeah, so definitely. So I see that like if you work with a different population that they have very limited literacy, even in their own language, it makes it really hard, and it lend itself more for in-person, one-on-one, give them all the attention that you can with them. And sometimes you even have to tailor your curriculum to each person, kind of to meet their needs and their ability. So I definitely echo on that. So thank you, Pon. I wonder if Hira has something to say about this question.
Yeah, sure. Actually, for me, it's about the learners. Sometimes it's just about listening to them. You know, they think that, you know, if we ask this question for like the next time, she might say, we don't remember what was the point if we don't know, remember what was last week's class was, and, you know, we were exploring something. So for me, with my learners having limited efficiency to do the work in the digital gadgets, it's about building the trust. I mean, I try to negotiate them with some examples. Oh, so you were watching the television and you saw people making videos on the basketball game, and then you wanted to do that too? And they're like, yeah, but you know, then they were like a bit shattered. Oh, but you know, I was doing that, but somehow it's my face, not the other part of it. I was like, oh, you know, don't know to flip it. That's okay, but your picture was nice too. So it's like, yeah, but how to do that? So it takes like a little bit of a humor and, you know, a trust, and building that friendship with them, because they feel that, you know, sometimes they're also shattered that, you know, we are here for a limited time. You will give me like some classes, and then, you know, what will happen? But I know the email address, but I don't know what was the promotional email, or what was the email that was an updated email or an important email. So sometimes, you know, negotiating with them with some few examples on real life or something that they share as an incident, and then relating it to my curriculum, I try to build that trust with them and understand that, you know, how to evolve with those things. And yeah, they have that hesitation, and it's important for me to let them know that I'm here to listen. I'm here to make you learn, but the first core principle for me is to listen to you, because even digital literacy is just an advanced thing that we are doing it right now, but I'm doing it from childhood. But then my learners who are very old, they saw the mainframes and the computers, and then now something on their hand and everything works through their hand. So they feel that scariness that, oh, we just have a cell phone and or a tablet that can do everything around. I was like, yeah, but no, we have to go to the self phone station, and then we do calls, and then having that big culture barrier, and that transaction for them is heavier than for us. So we think, so making that equitable for them is something, I negotiate through some examples. I was like, yeah, and that's how life revolves. Now we have cars with hybrid engine. He's like, yeah, it's easy to drive. It's like, yeah, exactly, that's how it's easy to call, and then it's easy to do the voicemail and be connected. So navigating with them through a bit, uh, building the comfort zone and letting them know that I'm here to listen is something I try to do with my learners. Yeah.
Thank you. That's excellent, Hira. Before I move on to the next question, I think that Daphne hasn't answered this yet. Do you have anything to add to it, Daphne?
Yes, so I think the most challenging for my learner is memory issues. So what I encourage them is always write down what they learned. So they always say that, oh, I'm sorry, I waste your time because I write so slow that take like half hour to write the notes that what she learned. But I always say that just encourage them. It's okay. Take your time, just write whatever you can and understand, and then we can practice. Keep practicing. I was always say that keep practicing what you learn after you even finish the training with me. So just spend some time, like 15 or 10 minutes per day, and keep practicing. And then I'm sure that one day, if you don't need to write down anything, you still remember what you learned. So, just keep encourage them.
Okay, thank you for sharing. Now, next question we have is, as an instructor, how do you integrate culturally inclusive practices into digital literacy training? Who wants to? Hira, raise your hand.
Yes. Yeah, I did. Should I go?
Go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah. So, culturally inclusive practices into digital literacy is a key, and, it's fuel to understand and empower our audience. What I think is, for me, it's important to learn what my audience is. What are they basically going through, and what challenges, like from the previous question to this question, what they are going through, what their culture backgrounds are. So, for example, in my South Asian community, most of my learners use WhatsApp as a key application that that connects them to their home countries, and sending pictures or documents, even all the things that should be done in a format of an email is done through the WhatsApp. So this is like how they usually use WhatsApp, but now they don't know how to use that too. And then their children are like, you don't know how to do FaceTime over WhatsApp, or you can not send the pictures, or do some to manage that communication gap. And they feel like, whoa, how we can do that. And then the YouTube is another core part of my culture, where they just wanted to have all those videos, or their learnings through different scholars they wanted to learn. And sometimes it's important for me to navigate, okay, these are the skills that you want to learn, and how you want to learn, what is the formal format about it, flexibility with my teaching methods, that I offer them, okay, you wanted to do this, so we have to make this Google account, and this Google account is related to YouTube. So I explain them their main goal to what the formal structure of learning is, so they keep understanding, okay, that's how Google account is, okay, that's why we have YouTube, and that's through YouTube I can have all my videos, and then I can subscribe to that. And so I try to engage my audience through the variety and the theme they are willing to opt, and demonstrating through their cultural examples, even through WhatsApp. they wanted to engage with all their family members or the community groups, but they don't know how to do that, or they don't know how to voicemail it. Sometimes, some of my learners are very old, they don't know how to type around it. So we have to ask them, how you can do the voicemails. And they're like, but we did the voicemail, but we can only listen to us. I was like, no, you did listen to yourself, but what is the delivering system about it is that it also delivered to other person, and then you have that receipt. So it's more about making the learning more inclusive for them, letting my learner know that if they don't know how to type, they know how to speak, changing something to their translations. Sometimes, most in most South Asian countries, English is the official language for the written documents, and other languages are as a national language they speak. So they know how the written English is, but they don't know how to speak. So we work through their translations and scripts and downloading those applications. So it's a long process, but I think that evolving and understanding the learner's need makes it easier. Thank you.
Thank you, Hira. Anyone else?
May I go next?
Anyone? Yes.
Yeah, yes. I think most of the parts are pretty similar to Hira, but so I just want to add is something my instructional technique in my Korean language learners. As you may know, the Korean culture, we have the different languages to use the older people. So like a respectable word. So even though I am a teacher, I am an instructor to teach them digital literacy, but I can't. I've never called their first name directly. It is totally different from the other English native speaker learners when I teach them. So I already use like a term kind of the teacher. They are the learners. However, I call them teacher because they have more wisdom and more experiences than me as a younger person. So I use the kind of instructional techniques like a culturally inclusive practices into my classroom. And also, similar with the Hirasi case, I provided some tailored curriculums, especially like a messenger apps. And Korean people, almost every Korean people use another messenger, KakaoTalk. So I give them some instructions how to use the KakaoTalk and provided some different functions between like a KakaoTalk and other kind of a messenger app, especially like iMessage from iPad. When I teach you some other features like a Siri and how to use Google Maps or the Apple Maps, I bring some examples. So like, can you find the nearest Korean senior centers? Or can you search some events, Korean like a holiday events near this area? Or when practice like the basic gestures, so the iPad, I teach them, can you find the Asian market on your maps? So I bring this kind of culturally related contents. So by doing so, I try to help them culturally inclusive practices in my classroom.
Yeah, so we always try to use relevant examples when we teach the topic. Yes, that's excellent. Anyone else want to answer this question?
I'd like to add a few
Jen?
points. I totally agree with Hira and Heewon. With Hira, it's like, understanding their backgrounds and where they come from, it's very important, because like even within the same culture, like Vietnamese who moved here for a long time ago or who just moved here have different mindset and have a different language ability as well. So if somebody like moved here a long time ago, then they would have a little bit of English. They can understand a bit of English, and so they get better access to services. Versus someone who just moved here and completely rely on their children for like to help with them with daily tasks. They feel a lot more isolated, and so I would like of Google Translate is such an important tool to show them. And that when he once brought up the pronouns, like how like elderly versus younger people have used different pronouns because we have this hierarchy in our culture. That's reminded me of like when I was teaching my learner to use Google Translate, I have to explain to them that when they structure their sentence, they have to use I and you in their sentence, because in English there's only two pronouns, versus if they try to use the pronouns correctly, like the correct pronouns in Vietnamese, it can produce incorrect in translations. I also explain to them that they have to use like words to indicate like or refer to future, past, or present tense in Vietnamese, which is based on context to know what the person is talking about. But like in English, you have to use the correct tense for other persons to understand. Also, like when for Vietnamese who have limited language ability, they usually search for things in Vietnamese. So search for Google or YouTube in Vietnamese, and that just give them the results in Vietnamese. So like a lot of time, if they're looking for services, government services near them, but they're looking in Vietnamese, they only get the Vietnamese results from Vietnam. So I have to show them like how to use Google Translate in combination with Google to get results in English in America, and then translate in Safari. You can like translate the page so that they can understand what they're reading. So yeah, and then I also encourage them to use the translation tools to ask questions in their community, because a lot of time they feel like they're bothering others, so they don't want to ask questions. But I let them know that in US culture, it's okay to ask question, and it's open, and asking question, it's a good thing. It's encouraged here. So thank you.
Yeah, you brought up a very good point about Google Translate. It is a very powerful tool, and I'm so glad that they added Cantonese to it not too long ago. And but the point I want to make is that yes, it's a powerful tool, but just translating the curriculum, from English to a different language is not enough. Oftentimes, or always, it requires a native speaker to really tailor the curriculum to the cultural group that you're working with. So that's the point I want to add, going back to my instructor role back in the old days. So I see that we have a lot of questions posted on the chat already. So I would like to move on to that Q&A section, open the floor up, because we have limited time. So let me see if we can see what's there in the chat. Okay, here's one. We work exclusively with IDD community development mental disorders. Some are unable to, but the majority of them find it difficult to express their desires for anything, including but not limited to digital inclusion. So how can we help them with this group? I don't know, Marcela, if you have worked with people in this population, I think. Do you have any tips?
Can you repeat the question again? It got cut off. So
yes. So we have an audience. No worries. We have an audience, Susanna, asking that for people with IDD community, like developmental disorders, some of them are unable to or express. This is difficult for them to express their desires for anything. It could be digital inclusion, it could be something else. How do we encourage them? How can we discover what they want to learn, what their desires are to learn?
So one of the things I ask them is okay, so let's say you already know how to use a computer and you have seen people use them, your grandkids, because they say, oh, my grandkids do all these things. What would be one of the things that you would like to be like the best at? And one of the things that most of them say is, I would like to be able to go into the internet and look for recipes or look for my novelas. Novelas is soap operas, right? And be able to. And I also would like to know how to paint. Like two of them are fascinated with the pencil and they want to paint. And I would like to learn more arts and crafts. So for me, that opens a whole new thing that I can, show them where to go, not just to follow the curriculum, but also to follow what they want. And that can add more versatility, more to the curriculum. I don't know if I gave the question, answered the question. Okay.
I think you do. Okay, we see another hand up, Kira.
Yeah, so I remember having one of my learner for learning disabilities, and there were a few of them. So for me, I think the investment on research on how they are within the community is very important. So I spoke to her caretaker, spoke to the person they were in the school, because we were doing this program with CTN, and I was an instructor who was virtually teaching them, but there were other caretakers around her. So I was trying to speak what Jade likes, what she don't likes. And then when she got the tablet, I was because I know she could not express what she wants to do. So it was very important for me, even through the intake, what color she likes. So she's like purple. And then, we were like, okay, we'll get you the purple tablet, that have a purple background or something on that note, or, you can put a purple sticker. And then what you want to do. So, trying to express when she opens the tablet was important for us to navigate where she is trying to go, because she was not able to express with us and with her with her fingers, and she was trying engaging, and she's putting her fingers around. So I was like, okay, you want music? It was like, yeah. And then she wants some Barbie songs. So there was a very difficult challenge, because um one time you can assume that she is a middle-aged child and she would be like doing something like that, but on other hand you might not think that she is willing to do that. So I did a lot of research around that, and then navigate that if I speak to her in the way she speaks to me, rather than being formal, I was like informal. Okay, I like this, and you like that, and then so she start expressing it a little bit. So that build up the trust and the engagement, and then we figure out, okay, you want to do this, let's try doing that. And then within other caretakers, we engage her in doing more things that she wants to do as per her homework, or understanding a little bit more resources, or navigating accessibility options that can help her use the digital device. So it does take a little bit of more research and of teamwork, but at the end of the day, I find some fruitful result. But of course, it is still a challenge. Thank you.
We may have time for just one more question from the audience. Anyone want to ask our panelists? If not, I have one question. What advice would you give to other instructors or nonprofit organizations looking to improve their culturally inclusive digital literacy training? What advice? Like, if you can only give one advice, what would you say?
I go with that.
Mhm.
I think the key thing is understanding what the need is, understanding what they're trying to do with the technology before like trying to teach them how to use, even email. Like a lot of them don't use email, right? So instead of spending time trying to teach them how to use email, maybe focus on, Messenger or YouTube or the things that they are actually going to use, that they want to use. And in the future, they may, start getting more interest into email, into other things. And at that time, then you could teach them. But initially, you can't, like, I went through the curriculum, and a lot of the stuff in there, like, especially email, we didn't do too much, because you know, well, first of all, like a lot of them like don't write, right? So so that doesn't serve them. So it's just understand what the need is, understand what they're gonna use the tool for, and then go from there.
Anyone else? Any other advices?
Yes, so I would like to give advices if the organization can just try to offer multilingual support, because even in one small community, even like we look like Asian, but actually, we speak different language like Cantonese, Mandarin, Korean, Japanese. We all look the same, but we speak different language. So it will be best to, offer multi-language support for that. Mhm.
Okay, and one advice that I would give as a program manager, we need instructors from speaking different languages, not only for the teaching, but also for the outreach. Because if you cannot reach the audience you're trying to bring the program to, you have a flyer in the language, but then how do you give it to the people that you want to be in your program? Involve local partners who knows this community, and that's the best way to outreach. That would be my advice. Okay, so I know that we are coming to the end. Any other last comment you want to make before we go into the raffle?
I think it's digital equity is a need for today. It's not something that we want or we desire to have. We have grown up to the world where it's a need and it's essential, and everybody should be a part of it, because we all need new shoes at the end of the day, at the end of the year, to walk strong and to walk polished and confident. And that's why I think what we do in CTN plays a great part and engage into this community building. My experience with literally working with the inclusive audience, to the audience with cultural barriers, audience with different languages, and with limited proficiency, it's been incredible. And understanding that everybody is taking out time to learn about digital equity and to learn what this device is all about, how we can engage, is important and essential. And that's how we are building a new engagement in United States and in the global world. And I hope we keep focusing on that and keep figuring out the good and detecting the scams and the bad in the society. Thank you.
Thank you, Hira. Ali and Ethan, I will pass it on to you for the closing the raffle.
Yeah, hi everyone. Thank you all so much. You guys were amazing. These are all
Hi.
very important topics. And I'm very happy to be able to announce the winners. We are going to be raffling out a free enrollment in our online class titled The Digital Navigators Advanced. And I could put a link in the chat just so you guys can check it out. And so those who win can see what they have coming their way, and those who don't can hopefully win the next webinar that we have right up next in 4 minutes. So this training covers digital navigators in context, meeting clients where they are, introduction to adult learning principles, encouraging internet safety and citizenship, keeping records and referring out. And these are all topics that we talked about today, where we're meeting our client, building that rapport, knowing the cultural important key concepts that we want to address with every one of our clients, because we're all different. Even if we all speak the same language or we're from similar regions, there's always going to be something different about everyone because we're all unique. So trainings like this really facilitate that type of thinking, and we thought about it a lot. So the winners I have for today are, let me see my list. Tracy Smith, are you still in the room, Tracy?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, you won. Please
Awesome.
just know that we will be reaching out to you with this enrollment. So I'm so happy that you got this training. And then Ramiro Bautista, is Ramiro in the room?
I am here.
Awesome, Ramiro. Congratulations.
Perfect. Thank you.
Lakeisha Thomas. I think Lakeisha dropped, actually. And okay, we'll move on to Adam Melton. Is Adam in the room?
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome, Adam. So congratulations, all three of you. I'm really excited for you guys to get that training in. I've taken the training, loved it, taught me a lot of things, and really gave me the verbiage for it all. And I'll see you guys at our next training in 2 minutes. So thank you so much for being part of this entire webinar series.
Cool, thanks.
And I'll pass it back to Sabrina.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you all my panelists and all the audience. I hope you have enjoyed the section and then have the great rest of your day. Thank you. See you next year. Bye.
Thanks.